The Joe Rogan Experience.
I'm pretty sure anxiety and depression are baked into the human experience. I don't think you can get away from them.
Yeah, you sound like a good Catholic.
That's what I'm saying, man.
That's what being Catholic's all
Here's
about.
the other, I used to have wicked panic attacks when I was 23, and I was also a gigantic piece of shit. And it was the thing that like made me start thinking about my life. I was like shocking I was just like, and if I had just gotten medication, I just would have kept being a giant piece of shit. So I'm always like making, but sometimes you got to go through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to slough through that stuff.
Yeah.
I was a fucking
How'd you pull out of it?
Shit, I just fucking had to come to grips with the fact I was going to die eventually.
When you say a piece of shit, you were just...
Dude, I was just
What
a
were you doing?
monster, bro.
What were you taking?
It wasn't even that. I was just...
What were you doing?
Just like selling drugs. I was
Slanging
young.
drugs.
Oh, you were selling
Yeah, I was
drugs.
a bad kid. I had no excuse. I had like, I wasn't like I was like my back to the wall. I was just like, I just like got a couple jobs and like, I don't like this. I was like, I should sell drugs.
What kind of drugs are you selling?
Pretty much everything.
Really?
Weed was the mainstay. But then I started like I got coerced into I didn't even know what pills did. So I was like my friends would talk me into going and like finding pills for them. Turned into a whole thing, dude. It was bad news.
How'd you get out of it?
Just stopped eventually.
Wow.
It stopped. Yeah.
Patreon podcast took off. Now we're good. Thank you, Patreon.
No, it was. I had
That's
like
amazing.
I didn't know what pills did, and I remember watching a whole, not even a whole, but like it was an apartment complex, and there was these 2 buildings full of like all these kids who were living there. And it's a long story, but like I somehow got my hands on like Watson Pharmaceutical like jugs of fucking they were Vicodins. And like they were just I
love that I somehow got my hands on jugs of
Something
Vicodins.
happened.
That's never happened to me. Weird.
I've never stumbled
been, like,
upon any jugs of
Never
Vicodin.
opened up a cabinet.
Dude.
Look at these jugs.
I don't think I've ever seen a Vicodin.
What's a jug of Vicodin? How many are we talking?
Dude, it's when you're at the pharmacy and you look behind the counter, it's those big boys.
Oh, like a whey protein bottle?
Yes.
Like one of them big
Vicodins.
scoop protein things?
Yeah.
How much was that worth?
Millions.
At the time, it was
You're going to jail. You're talking about this on the podcast. You're fucked.
statute of limitations.
What is the statute of limitations?
I don't know.
Statue of limitations.
Statue
Statue of limitations, dude. I'm in the clear.
Shade's got the shades on.
It's time.
It's over. Okay, here we go.
But no, it was.
Mushrooms kicked
That's
in.
basically the thing. I was just a fucking
Turn on the
nightmare.
jets.
That was the thing.
So
I'd be
you statute of limitations. You're good.
this is before the statute. Before the statute.
The French gave us this.
I was laying in bed just going, what the fuck am I doing with my fucking life? Having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And it forced me to be like, yeah, it's probably a pretty bad idea. Everything.
So
I got going on.
how'd you phase out of it?
I just stopped. It made me develop like a sense of like, yeah, this is fucking other people up. And I like saw people getting fucked up. And I'm like, I'm going to stop doing
And you
this.
kept getting robbed at gunpoint.
And I kept getting robbed at gunpoint.
How many times did you get robbed at gunpoint?
Twice.
Whoa.
Yeah, twice.
After the first time, you're like, this is never going to happen again.
After the first time I went back, the plug robbed me at gunpoint, and he was like, I won't do it again. I was like, okay.
You said yes, Daddy.
The plug? What's the plug?
The dude who's your supplier.
Oh, your supplier robbed you at gunpoint.
Well, yeah, it was kind of a mess. I would give him money, and he would go get them. And then one time he came back without them, and I was like, dude, just have them. I was so scared of these guys. And I was like, you can just keep it all. I don't care. And he was like, how do I know you didn't set me up? And he pulled a gun out on me, and I was like, ugh. And my roommate walked down and went, ah! And they both just ran out. But yeah.
And so then you tried to buy from him again?
No, I told him, he like, time passed, and he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. I found out who actually robbed me. He's like, if you could come back, I'll take care of you, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'll like make it worth your while, and you'll never have to put any money up ever again. So
And then what
like,
happened?
I just went back, started,
And then he
And then what
happened to
happened?
just pull his gun off.
Then apparently he got in trouble I think he tried to shoot at somebody. So I went back to pay him back one time, and then some guy was like, nah, he's in jail. He tried to shoot someone.
But you said he pulled a gun on you twice.
Once. A different guy pulled a gun on me.
But he said he would never do it again.
He didn't. He was true to his word.
So that guy would never do it again.
He
But
was
the other
shoo-
guy did it.
Some other guy. It was some guy. I was in a house, and a guy came in with a gun. That stunk.
What was this about?
Weed. Pounds.
He just said, give me your weed?
Yeah, it was like kind of like one of those things where like a guy comes in, he goes, oh my God, some guy happened to be behind me with a gun, everyone get down. And I was sitting there like, this is bullshit. So then he like just took the money, took like the weed, and then he was like, just like, who the fuck, blah, blah, blah. He started telling me like I was on his territory, and I was like, dude, come on, man. And I just sat there, and he just talked for like 2 minutes, and he was like, if you guys try to look out the window, there's people outside, they're gonna shoot you. He took all of our cell phones. I did have $1,000 behind my back though. I didn't tell him about, so I got to keep that.
That's pretty sweet.
That was pretty
A
tough.
lot of people would have lost their composure. Thankfully, that other guy pulled his gun on you before, so you were...
Dude, know what happens though is you lose, everything slows down, and you're able to like. I was in that the first time I just shit my pants. The second time I was like looking at the kid who I never met before, who I knew kind of set this up because I watched one kid I knew like be in a real state of fear, and I watched this other guy pretending to be scared. All while this guy in a ski mask was like, whoa, 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 with a gun. And it was just like, fuck, I really hope. Like the part of my brain, like I might get shot, just went offline. And I was able to watch and be like, I'm going to fucking kill this little motherfucker when this guy, you know, blah, blah, blah. But
And so how long after that did you stop?
a couple years. I was chasing the bag, dude.
For real.
Oh, my God.
I got
Patreon.
robbed. I didn't make any money. I got robbed constantly. I was too trusting. I got robbed I got robbed by Club one time. Club Point. It sucked.
Club.
These guys just were like, we'll bash your...
Irishman with a shillelagh.
It's like, oh, you better give me the weed. What's that weed you got, Matt McCusker?
Not again. Fuck.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
so,
dumb.
He's a non-violent drug dealer.
Yeah.
So how did you
didn't work.
How did you start making mony when you quit?
I always worked in construction and stuff too. I'd always have a side gig, so I never depended on one too much. So I could always say like "fuck you" to my job if I didn't like it, and if things got like weird, I could be like, I'm not gonna do. I would chill. So I had a kind of like hybrid approach.
And how did you get into podcasting?
I was just a comedian. Me and Shane were just living together. I'm like, dude, can we please do a podcast? I'm fucking dying here, dude. Please do
I was playing video games. I was like, yeah, fuck it, yeah.
Yeah, I was just. I mean, I was.
What is it called again, in case we forget?
Matt and Shane's secret podcast.
There you go.
But yeah, man, that was it's not the way. That was not the way.
No, it doesn't sound like the way.
But I was.
Sounds like you got some good stories out of it though, and you lived.
Pretty good, yeah. Pretty good. But I was living according to a fucked up system, and it was like things called mental disorders got me out of it. That's what I'm trying to say.